So with Bitcoin moving up, how is that affecting MSTY, HOOY, and CONY? We're going to take a look at those. And then I also did buy some more shares of NVIDIA. And I also want to show you what if you bought a call option on NVIDIA yesterday before the earnings was announced. What would that option look like today? Hello, my friends, this is Legend. So as you can see, Bitcoin is on the move, right? We are back up above 80K on Bitcoin, and this one has just been moving up. And it's been moving up since about August the 19th. That's when we had that first pop up, and it's just been moving up since. We had a little bit of a pullback right here, but that was just to cool down a little bit. Came back down, tested that 76. And these are several lines that we've had in there for a while. It came down, tested at 76, and then popped up back above it. I've got another line at this 79.5, and it looks like we might be able to get above it and use it for support. That would be great. But you can see that that 77.7, that line right there, that was definitely a good support line that it did use to bounce off of it for those 2 days right there. Now, if we scroll back here, you can see right over here, and I'll try to get them all on the screen here, that 79.5, that was a bit of a support line over here before we did break down below it. And that red line, which is at 77.7, that was a resistance over here before it did break above it, and then was using this 79.5 as a support before breaking on down to where we were at previously. But if I zoom back out, you can see we are indeed trying to fill that gap. We dropped back down. We were in this 60K range, and now we are moving back up. So I imagine a lot of people were selling out of it because of that big drop, but had you just stuck it out, looks like it would have recovered. Now with Bitcoin moving up, how is that affecting MSTY, HOOY, and CONY? So let's just take a look at those and see how they're reacting with this move that we've been having in the last week or so. And here we are on MSTY. To see the actual movement of those candles, I'm currently on the adjusted chart. So I'm going to need to flip it to the actual, and that will show the actual movements of those candles. The adjusted chart takes out the noise of the dividend here, or distribution in this case. So if I show that actual right here by going chart settings, and then we'll just flip that right over to actual. And now we're looking at the actual prices that MSTY was seeing. So we were at around this $11 to $12 range, and it's just been kind of sitting here, right? But it has been moving up. We are now at 1583. So we are moving up, and we moved up 9% just today. Now that, my friend, is crazy. And you know what's even crazier? We earned that distribution of 28 cents. Now, keep in mind, that distribution came out of today's candle. And as you can see, it doesn't look like it affected it much at all, right? We had a nice recovery on MSTY, and it moved up 9.13%. Love it. So I'm really excited to see what my real price per share is going to be on all of these high yield ETFs, because as you know from my previous video, the only ones I am down on now are CONY and HOOY, but both of those have been moving up too. So that gap between my price and the actual price is getting smaller and smaller. And I'm hoping that not too long, I'm going to be able to show all of my high yield ETFs as green. But until then, let's take a look at HOOY. So here we are on HOOY. So it looks like HOOY is sitting at just under $28 a share. Very nice, right? We have been moving up a little bit, cooling off a little today, but that's okay. It's getting closer and closer to my real price per share, which is around that $29. And don't forget, every time we earn that distribution, I get to lower my real price per share. So that will bring that real price per share down just a bit more, as we did earn about 38 cents this week. And on CONY, you can see we had a nice little pop up right through here, and we are keeping that price at around $21. We're currently at $21.37, and after hours we're at $21.41. Not too bad of a move on CONY as well. So with the moves up on CONY and HOOY, and my real price per share dropping with every distribution that I do earn, and we earn 35 cents on CONY, I am just narrowing that gap between my real price per share and the actual price of that ETF. Love to see it. And the one that I actually wanted to show you was NVDA. Now for this one, they had earnings at the end of the market yesterday. They announced the earnings, and that was after market close. Now the last few times we had earnings, even though they did pretty good on earnings, it would drop after earnings, right? So right here, you're showing a drop, and then we'll take it on back here, and you can see after earnings right here, we dropped right there, right? Right after earnings, we drop. So we've been dropping the last few times after earnings. But with all of those drops, I just felt like this time it might be a bit different. And if you look back here at this earnings, you can see it was rising up right before earnings, right? So it was going up, up, and up. And then earnings hit and it just fell off, right? And you can see right over here, same thing, right? Moving up, up, up. Right after earnings, it fell. But what was different about this time? Well, if we go right over here, and this is the earnings right here, right? We weren't going up, up, up until earnings. We were actually coming down, right? So that price was actually dropping right before earnings. And that is the reason I ended up buying a few more shares of NVIDIA. And I got them on the day of the earnings right here. My average buy was around 210 to about 211 per share, as I did buy a couple times through that day. But as you can see, it's now sitting at 227.98 and got as high as 230. So I did pretty good on those shares. I'm not selling them because for me, NVIDIA is just a banger of a stock, and I want to hold those shares. Now, what if you would have bought an option, and that's a call option, right? What if you would have bought a call option on the 26th? Now, they weren't going to actually announce earnings until the end of market. So what if you bought a call option on that day just before market close? What would that have cost you? And then what would it have been worth today around market close as well? Because you could have bought it on the 26th and turned right around and sold it on the 27th and made very nice premium on that option. And I took a screenshot of that premium that was on that 26th. So it would have been somewhere around this amount. And then we'll take a look at the option to see what it would be worth today and find out how much premium you would have actually made on this option. So here's that screenshot, and this was for NVIDIA, and this was after market close. But this would show you about what that price would be that you would have had to pay to buy an option, and that's a call option, okay? So say you bought a $210 call option to expire on the 28th, which is tomorrow, right? But really, for this one, all I would have been doing is playing that earnings. So it's either a win or a loss. Now, I would not necessarily lose all of it, but I would have been taking a chance to lose at least half of it, right? Because had it dropped today after earnings, then I would have had to sell it, and I would have been selling it at a loss. But in this case, NVIDIA went up. So I just wanted to show you how much you're actually able to make when you buy a call option. So this is the day before, and that $210 option on the call side had a bid and ask of about 615 to 630. So we're just going to put in a 625, okay? Just to throw a number in there, somewhere in the middle. And that's about what I usually shoot for, something in the middle. And 625 is actually a little on the higher side, but we're just going to use it as that's how much you would have had to pay to buy a call option on NVIDIA at $210 call option strike for August the 28th. So remember 625 at a 210 for this Friday. And here we are back on the chart, and we're going to go to our options chain, and we're going to select August the 28th. Here we go. And we're going to scroll right on down, and right here's the current price. But that option that we were looking at was that 210, okay? So we bought it for 625, but how much could we actually sell it for? Well, that mid price for that 210 is $17.38. Goodness gracious. Can you say home run if you would have bought that option? That's definitely a home run. Because how much would that have been? Well, if we're looking to sell it for $17.38, but it's going to cost us that $625, right? Remember right here, $625, and that's that number that we were going to use for buying that call option. So that's what we had to pay, $625, but we earned $17.38. What's that difference? That's $11.13 per share. And don't forget, each contract is 100 shares. So how much would we have made had we bought a 210 call option for Friday? Well, we take that 1113 and we take it times 100 shares for one contract, and that is $1,113. So as you can see, we almost doubled our money, right? Because how much did we put up for it? Well, we put up $625. And if we take that times 2, that's $12.50. But we only earned $11.13. But basically in one day, we almost doubled our money had we bought that call option for NVIDIA at the time of earnings and played it as an earnings play. Now that's what you would have made, but how much did you stand to lose? Well, we put in that $625, right? $6.25, but you had to buy a contract that's 100 shares, so that's $625. That's how much you stood to lose, right? Now, would I have lost all $625? I wouldn't think so, because had it dropped, I would have went ahead at the first part of the day and sold it for a loss, but not the full $625 loss. Probably about half of it, right? Or maybe not half. But either way, I would have taken a loss, but I would not have just held on to it just to see if it would turn around. Because for that play there, I would have been playing it as an earnings play. So it either makes it or it doesn't. And if it does drop, I'm selling it. If it jumps up, I'm selling it, right? Because it's an earnings play. So I'm either going to make the money or I'm going to lose it. Like I said, because it would not be all the way to expiration, because this was out till Friday, and I would actually be selling it a day before expiration, it would still have some money left in it. So like I said, I would not have lost a full $625 in my mind. The most I would think I would have lost is maybe half of that, had it dropped drastically. But for this case, had you bought that call option on NVIDIA at a $210 strike, paid $625 total for that contract, you could have actually turned around and made $1,100 on that play by selling it at the end of today. Not too shabby at all. I was very close to actually doing that, but I didn't. I just went ahead and I bought shares, right? So I got myself up to about 100 shares of NVIDIA, and this nice little price increase right here sure does help me out. So how about you? Did you get into NVIDIA? Did you buy some shares before the earnings announcement? Did you buy a call on NVIDIA? Would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on it. And also, how about those high yield stocks? They're actually doing pretty good right now, and I've been in them for a while. But with my method, I do lower my real price per share so that if it does go down, I'm also bringing my real price per share down so that one day when it moves back up, it's got less distance to go before crossing back over my real price per share, which is basically my adjusted price per share, taking into account those distributions. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, as it would be much appreciated. As always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.